I'm Pamela Portnoy, and no one's okay. Welcome back to No One's Okay. We are back. I am here today with the lovely Jason Crow of SOUNDWORC Studios. He is a casting director, podcast producer, editor, woodworker extraordinaire. Hi, Jason.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Our audience probably recognizes you because my former lovely co-host and I used to talk about you all the time on the show.
Yes, I did produce your podcast and currently do.
Yes. Welcome.
So thank you for having me in my studio.
Thank you so much for letting me have you in your studio.
Of course.
Yeah, obsessed with the new setup. I know you guys saw this last time we had Alexa on the show, but we're still like working it out. This set is freaking awesome, and we're so excited about it.
It will evolve, but I do love your sign.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the best.
Thank you. Alexa actually picked it out, so badass.
No, it's very great. I feel like I'm on a late night show.
Welcome to the late night show with Pamela Portnoy and Jason Crow.
Late night where no one is okay.
We're not okay.
No.
So, Jason, tell me about your journey. Tell me about how you got to this particular moment in time with me. So sorry.
Got it. Well, February 16th, 1987 at 7:07 in the morning, I was born in Lincoln, Illinois. And then a lot of years later, I am here. And
anything in between?
Long story short, not a lot happened. My journey. Well, I have always, as we mentioned, this is my recording studio, but I've always I grew up playing music in bands, and when I was like 18, I built a recording studio in my room, and I've pretty much had a recording studio ever since, and now it has recently moved to be inside of Ace Studios, so we have like kind of a very cool setup here. If anyone out there has been to Ace, come check it out.
Come check it out. It's pretty dope. Check it out.
And I work in television casting. I do some movies and commercials and stuff, but it's mostly stuff that's on TV. And I also will occasionally make things out of wood. And then that is my whole story. This table.
Which is very, very smooth and soft.
Thank you. That's what sanding does.
Oh, wow. Very good. So what instruments did you play?
Mainly drums. I can play a little bit of guitar and piano, but I grew up mostly playing drums.
Anything on this?
I'm not going to do that. I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Jason. All right. So what do you think actors should know that maybe they don't know? Like, what would you say goes on behind the scenes that you wish all of us knew?
I think one of the main things with like casting and acting on auditions, because auditions is kind of like a whole different, beast other than just acting. Like it's kind of like, obviously you're acting, but getting good at auditions is definitely like a different type of skill set. So I would just say that like the most important thing from behind the scenes is just kind of really trusting yourself and trusting your craft to whatever the audition is, to like really make it resonate and real, and find a way to connect in just a real and authentic way, and don't necessarily worry too much. Like obviously, you want to be off book and you want to know what's going on and you want to know about the character and stuff, but you do need to make a lot of your own decisions, because most of the people that we'll see will kind of just be doing exactly what's on the page, but the people who really stand out are the ones who like really like connect to the character, and not just in an authentic way, but a way that's like very authentic specifically to them, so they can bring this character to like a new light that we hadn't seen before or seen anybody else do. So because a lot of times we'll have kind of an idea of what's in our head, and someone will come in and show us something totally different. A lot of times like that is like the right way to go.
Okay. Is there any particular moment that stands out to you where someone has taken it in a completely different direction than the paper?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like there's just certain things that like where like a lot of times, we'll get a script, we'll cut sides really fast, but I'm not dissecting the material in the way that the actors are before they're coming in. And so, I'll see a bunch of auditions and then I may see 40, 50 people before there'll be like a specific beat or a specific line that someone just gets better than other people, where someone will come in and make the scene make like real sense for the first time. Whereas like, you know what's happening and you know what people are supposed to do, but they'll just bring it to life in such a way that
you feel it.
Yeah, you feel it, but you just like, oh yeah, there is a joke there. Or like there is these beats that they found that bring the whole scene together in a way that like no one else was doing. And then that way, it's like sometimes just like the right choices, it's very obvious.
That's so interesting that you said that that part about the joke being there, because a lot of the time, one of my favorite things that one of my acting teachers has told me is when you're playing the villain, find the hero and the villain.
Yeah.
When you're playing the hero, find the villain.
100%. Like you don't like no villain. I mean, maybe there's one or two, but usually they think that they're doing the right thing. Like they're usually often not like, oh, I'm just a menace to society and that's all I'm doing. Usually they have a plan and they want to see it out, and just along the way they get very lost. So yeah, no, it's just like bringing, just like how is this character human?
Right. Because everybody is multidimensional. Even like the worst type of villain has a good side.
Yeah.
And like has a reason that has brought them to this certain point. And so that's interesting, because not a lot of the time you have to fill in those gaps with like a
layers.
page. You know?
And because like you said, like no one's ever feeling just one emotion at a time. Like we feel multiple emotions at a time, and then there's also all these life experiences that play into why we're feeling these emotions. So it's not. So some people will come in and the scene reads angry, so they just play angry, but it just reads flat in one note, because you're not ever just angry. You're frustrated and you're disappointed, and you're also you're mad, like you're sad or you're whatever. Like there's just all these things going on as like a complex human.
So I've heard some people say that they completely disregard the punctuation. Would you say that that's like a terrible idea or like a good idea?
I mean,
because if there's like all caps or an exclamation point, like I feel like everyone's going to lean into that because they think that, oh, that's what they really need. The writer wrote it that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a balance where you do want to respect what the author and the writers wrote. Like, you don't want to, like, create something completely different where it's just like, well, this isn't the world that we built, or this isn't the character that we built. So you do want to stay true to the tone of the show. You want to stay true to the script and stay true to the character. You just have to find a way that it really connects with you. And, sorry, I totally just lost my train of thought. What was the
punctuation?
Oh, the punctuation, yeah. And I feel like stage direction often is a trap. Like a lot of people, they'll always be, like they'll go through the script and they'll learn the lines, and then it's like, okay, well, at this beat, I'm supposed to like take a sip of water because that's what it says in the script. Right. So then like you're thinking about that, and then you're thinking about too many different things. Whereas like for audition purposes, I think you can almost always throw the stage direction away. Like if you're in a car driving, like you don't need to play like you're driving, just connect with the reader, and like we'll feel everything internally. Like you don't always need to show us, and we're also just like in a blank room, so like you don't need to like bring in props so you can act out all your stage direction. It's real. What we're really looking for is like,
are you the human?
Are you the human who's like are you connecting? Are you listening? And then also just like, are we watching you? Are you keeping us connected? And most of the time, the only thing that's keeping us connected is their connection. So if they become disconnected, then we'll immediately tune out. So the most important thing is just really listening and focusing and connecting with your reader. And a lot of times you're going to have really bad readers, but you have to do it anyway.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, all kinds of stuff goes on in audition rooms. Like I've seen like dogs everywhere, and like you really just got to be the person and stay focused. And I think that's really good advice. Can you give us a peek behind the curtain a little bit? Like you said that you don't necessarily dissect the scene before people come into audition. What kind of conversations do you guys have in casting before actors come in?
Oh, we'll have, casting concept calls. I had one like a few hours ago today.
Oh, hell yeah.
But we just go over who the characters are, what they're looking for, what they have in mind, if they have prototypes in mind, or, they just have an example, like a real life example of someone that we may or may not be able to get, but that's kind of the idea for the role. And then we will go out and look for the best actors that fit that mold that they're looking for. So we really just kind of sit down. We'll read the script. We go over everything. We'll talk about the characters with the producers, and then we'll cut sides and send them out. But I'm just not doing the same work that the actors are doing, where they're sitting down and really dissecting it and building out the world, because I don't always have time to do that. So it's funny that, because sometimes we'll see the people who really did the work and build the world makes the scene that I've just kind of read as I was cutting it, and then I read the script once, makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because they're just connecting to it in a way I'm like, oh, that's why, like, it just makes more sense.
Absolutely. Gosh, that's so interesting. Are there ever times where you know what the producers are looking for, but then you see something in the room that isn't necessarily what, like, a prototype that they wanted, and you're like, can you just, like, take a peek at this person?
Oh, sure, all the time. Yeah, we'll just have, like, out-of-box ideas. We're like, this is what you're looking for, but this person crushed it. And
how often would you say that works for that person?
I mean, it just depends. I don't think there's a specific percentage, because it's very specific to the example. Mm-hmm. So, and it also just depends on the openness of the producers, and are they okay with another idea? Or sometimes they're really set in what they want and they really have a good idea and they won't stray from that. Sometimes they're more open. Sometimes they don't really even know what they want and they're waiting for, like, the right actor to show them.
Okay. That makes
so it just kind of
sense.
depends. Like, but a lot of times, yeah, we'll throw out an out-of-the-box idea. Like, here's some other choices that, like, didn't really fit the breakdown, but, like, we really like these people, so just, check them out just in case. And, sometimes that will work, and sometimes it's like, oh, they're really good, but, like, we'll think of them for something else.
How did you land in casting?
Well, when I went to college, my major was advertising. I originally wanted to write commercials. I did grow up, like, I did some acting classes. I did a lot of extra work.
Me too.
Awesome. And I was watching a lot of TV at that time. So I went to school originally for advertising. That was my major, and I wanted to write commercials. But this was, like, in a time of, like, where there were, like, Super Bowl commercials and everything wasn't online. And by the time I was graduating, I was a lot more over advertising. And I minored in film. And so, like, my last semester, I was completely done with my advertising stuff. So my last semester was all film. And I realized, like, oh, I definitely want to work in TV. Like, I might as well, if I'm, like, watching a bunch of TV and doing all these different things, I may as well have a job where, like, I'm supposed to watch TV.
Was there a class that kind of, like, hit that for you?
I honestly, I think it was the whole last semester where all my classes were film, where it really just hit me where I was just like, I'm so over, like, I like the idea of advertising. It's all, I don't know, it's all kind of gross. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to just get away from that, and the whole platform was changing, and so I ended up doing a few different internships. I interned at, like, a management company. I PA'd. I interned in casting, and that's kind of where I landed. Just because, like, I like that the most. It's still creative. You're still you're kind of, I like being behind the scenes. I quit being in bands to start producing stuff, and did not want to act because I did not like being in the center of attention at all. So the idea of, like, producing music or producing podcasts or whatever it is, and then casting. So, you're still acting and you're playing with actors and you're being creative in, like, the process of casting the show. But I don't actually have to pursue acting or any of that kind of type of grind. I mean, casting is a grind, obviously, but
totally.
It's not the same. I don't like.
Yeah, every time
camera. Hi.
He's wonderful on camera, isn't he? He is. Yeah, I just think it's wonderful, because every time I talk to you, you have your hand in something new. Like, you built this incredible space. You're, bringing more things in every single time. There's, like, something new that you either made or, like, brought in, or, like, you have an idea to, like, make the space into something else. And I think that's like the bread and butter of, like, creativity. It's, like, amazing. Tell me a little bit about the other podcasts that you have going on.
Well, it could be yours if you want to come in and record. So, future podcasts.
Come on in.
Anything is possible. No, the one podcast I want to mention is the Nostalgia Mixtape, which is something that's been on hold for a bit. So you can see some older episodes that are out there now. But that is a podcast that my friend Saman Ashrawi, he started. He birthed and began, and then we teamed up and just started working on that podcast. But basically, it is a storytelling podcast where we have on, singers, actors, authors, whoever it is, that will tell how music relates to memory. Mm-hmm. So, I'm sure we've all experienced where you hear a song and it physically takes you back to a place. I mean, not physically, but you know what I mean? Like you may as well have just jumped back 12 years and you're at this party that you're at, or just, it happens a lot with smells. So the premise is just, coming on, telling the stories of like where you were, like what's the song, where were you, why do you remember, like what's this, like the story around it. And then as they tell the story, we kind of weave in the music as they're talking about it. And we'll have like musical interludes. So there's it's a great way to find new music. I've learned a lot about music, or a lot of music I never would have heard from different people that have come on to just kind of talk about their nostalgic experiences.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was thinking about the nostalgia mixtape when I was driving my car. I'm the type of person that loves to drive and just listen to different types of music, and it's just a form of therapy for me.
Totally.
Even if I'm not going a particular place, I'll just go for a drive.
Right.
And there's a particular song which it's called "Beating Heart Baby." I forget the name.
Oh yeah, from Alexis on not Alexis on Fire. Oh my God, Head Automatica.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I listen to that song, I'm automatically like transported back
I love
to
that song.
to like pining over my high school crush, like driving down Ventura Boulevard, like with the windows down, just like with my like former crush. And just like, I feel so free and youthful and carefree.
That's amazing. I love that song.
It's a good
and I haven't listened to it
one.
in a long time, but I was actually just talking to my friends because there's a thing called Chain Fest. I feel like Glassjaw's there, and that's the singer of Head Automatica, is the same singer of Glassjaw. That was just what it reminded me. But it's like, I feel like it's like Taking Back Sunday and Saves the Day. And it's just like all these epic, like just, emo punk, pop punk bands and stuff from like my high school.
Would you say that that's like the most nostalgic type of music for you?
Pop punk, probably.
Yeah.
That or just like certain hip hop songs. But yeah, no, I feel like in high school when I was playing in bands and we were like in a rock pop punk kind of band, like that was like, that was also like the years.
Hair?
Oh, I did. I had Bieber hair before Bieber, so
hell yeah. Look out, Bieber. Look out.
He has different
if
hair
only
now.
you'd like
original
drum
Bieber
on
hair.
the
No, yeah, that will show him.
I got ahead of myself because I got so excited by Nostalgia Mixtape. But question, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs and artists that listen to the show. You mentioned that casting is a grind, which it is. It's a lot of the time you do get to like stay on a particular show for a long time, but a lot of the time it's like a lot of freelance work.
That's always freelance, yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to entrepreneurs and people that are just like going from job to job to job, like keeping momentum, or like what would you tell them?
Well, something that's been really beneficial for me is kind of diversifying what I'm able to do, where it's not just casting, because if I had to rely on just that, I mean, it's been actually very good over the last like 10 years. I can't believe I've been in it for 10 years now. But
you're
it's insane.
Maybe it's fine.
It's no, well, it's been very helpful for me is I have other things. So I can, when we go on hiatus, I can have other ways that I can, like other jobs I can jump into. I'm helping produce Contact in the Desert, which is the world's largest UFO conference right now.
So fucking cool.
So it's just like I'm very open to doing anything that sounds interesting. So if things come up, I'll take them. I get in trouble though because I take on too much, and that can get very stressful. But now that I'm like trying to find a balance, I'm in a position where I have my hands in different things to where if something ends, I can just kind of shift.
Excellent. That's good advice, because I'm an actor, and for me, the show was kind of created with that in mind,
right,
to like stay creative, stay in the space, while, in between auditions and in between jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's proving to be wonderful.
That's amazing.
And fun.
Yeah.
And I'm still here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I really feel like it's just like keep doing stuff. Don't stop doing stuff. It doesn't even matter what it is, as long as you're getting better at it.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. You said that you can take on a lot of things and get overwhelmed. How do you deal with your overwhelm?
Well, I usually just roll up into a ball and cry.
Same.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, well, sometimes I just get really stressed out, and then I just live like that for a few days while I'm figuring it out. But I mean, I try to run as much as I can. I do yoga and I try to meditate.
An hour.
Well, sometimes. That's
Alexa tried.
Yeah.
I just talked to her, like, I think it was 2 days ago. She was telling me she tried for an hour, but she made it to 20 minutes. And she's like,
so
but
you
that's
gotta
longer than
keep
I'm
going. That's
going.
the
I
thing.
made it to like 5 minutes
Yeah,
the other
well,
day.
I feel like yes, like it's obviously much easier to meditate for like 10 or 15 minutes, but I never appreciated meditation. And to be honest with you, I didn't even get it. Like I felt like I got it. I thought for years I understood like what it was and what the benefits were. And like I intellectually understood it, but I didn't like really understand it until I tried to do it for an hour, because it takes like at least 30 to 40 minutes for you to shut your brain down. And then once you get into that space, it's so much more of a peaceful place. And then meditating becomes very easy when you're in that space, because it's kind of just like this weird peaceful paradise, but you can't get there in 20 minutes.
And then,
I mean, maybe you could if you're crazy good at meditating, but those people probably are the people who have, gone to retreats where they meditate 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day or whatever it is. And then you can probably dip into it faster. But I never experienced it until someone told me they did the same thing. They just said like, hey, you have to do it for 60 minutes. And then like you'll hopefully get it. And then once you get it, it's kind of just like, oh, like, why don't I do this all the time?
100%. I don't know how do you feel when you're in like 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour? Is it like you're ready to come out of it, or is it like I don't really want to come out of it?
Yeah, well, the very first time I did the 60 minutes, I had set my alarm for 60 minutes, so that way like you're not checking the clock all the time, like how long has it been or whatever. That way you can just completely forget about that, and then the alarm will go off and you know how long it's been. So I set my alarm for 60 minutes, and I think I dipped into this. You kind of just like you peacefully just go over this waterfall, and at that point I like I almost came out of it because I started like kind of laughing, because I was like, oh man, I should have just set my alarm for longer, because it was really just like, oh, this is like a really, it's very hard to explain, but yeah, no, it's just like you're very much at peace.
I have been meditating for at least 5 minutes a day for the last week or so, and I really do notice a difference in how I interact with the world around me.
Mm-hmm.
Things that would normally completely infuriate me still infuriate me, but like they don't physically affect me as much as they usually do.
Yeah, like I went to a sensory deprivation tank, and I was in it for 2 hours, and that is like a really good way to just kind of force yourself to get into that.
And
place.
This is the dark float tank.
Yeah,
right?
there's like it's super dark. The water's like the same temperature as your skin. You can't see or hear anything. So it actually, people are always worried that it's like really claustrophobic. I'm not claustrophobic at all.
That's my fear thinking about it. I was like, what if I feel trapped and I want to get out?
Oh, well, you can just get out.
Okay.
If you feel trapped, you can just stand
They're
up
not
and get out.
locking
It's
me in.
literally like, no, they don't lock you in. It's like 10 to 12 inches deep of water. So like you lay on your back, but there's so much Epsom salt that you float like you're in the Dead Sea.
Mm.
But if you just were to sit up, your butt would just go to the ground if you ever needed to feel like grounded. Because there was a time where, because there's no sensory input at all, it feels like everything goes forever. So
Very
it didn't feel
disorienting,
like
I
a
imagine.
cramped space. But yeah, there was one time where I needed to like sit down, like the first time I was doing it, because I just got a little disoriented. But once you get comfortable, then it's awesome. But I just remember I was driving home after the sensory deprivation tank, and I got stuck in traffic, and like I couldn't have cared less. Like nothing mattered. Like people could cut me off, and I was like, all right, hi.
All right, you must be in a hurry. Bye.
Oh, let me get over for you. Let me get out of your way.
It really, I think the meditation's helpful, but also like I find when I'm frustrated, like I'll just lean into, and I'm really not trying to toot my horn, but like I find that this actually helps me. I try to like lean into like being kind to the thing that's frustrating me.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do.
I don't
like
know.
that. Yeah. No, because like, yeah, I don't know. We just, so much of our anxieties and stuff like we make up in our head.
Yes. We can make ourselves sick with stress.
Mm-hmm.
I would love, I know we mentioned this the other day when we were talking, but I would love to do an episode on centering and meditation and all that. But I'm going to try to go for an hour, and I'm going to go to the float tank.
Yeah,
if
gotta
you're
go to the
down,
float
I
lab.
want to talk to you about our
No, for sure.
experiences.
We should go.
Okay. I'm so excited. I'm on like a journey to like, this whole past year has been such a shit show that like I feel like everyone has had to turn in and like kind of analyze like how they function.
Right.
So I'm like on a mission to just make, as my friend said, I'm like, this is very convoluted what I'm saying, but like my friend and I were talking yesterday about how there are like 5 points to like health, physical health, mental health, spiritual health, emotional health. I'm forgetting intellectual health. Lots of different versions,
health.
and just if one of them's off, you're gonna be off.
Right.
So just like focusing on those things. And today, I was thinking about how I wanted to kind of nourish my intellectual and spiritual health, because I miss really getting the feeling of getting into a book that I am obsessed with the world with. And so I picked up a new book. I think it's called The Court of Thorns and Roses. Don't come at me, guys. It's kind of like a fantasy romance. Have you heard of it?
No.
And I'm kind of obsessed. Like I read 150 pages like this morning.
Oh, wow.
And that feeling of like getting really into something, it was like nourishing me. So I'm into anything that's
nourishing the soul.
Yeah. Like I had to like get up and go to a thing today, not this, a thing before this. And I was like, I don't want to leave my book world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt very grounded.
No, that's great. Yeah. And then also like that, like when you get lost in a book, like that's meditation too, because you're not thinking about other stuff. You're just reading the book.
100%. You're in the pictures in your head. So I wanted to do something a little bit different.
Okay.
Because you are my first solo show guest.
So I'm basically a co-host.
You're co-hosting the show.
Okay, cool.
Would you like to say anything to our audience?
No,
Jason,
I'm not
Jason.
really the host. I'm just kidding. No one's okay.
We're not okay. I am going to ask you if you're okay. But before I do, I came up with some very silly questions that I would like us to take very seriously.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Give me 3 desert island movies.
Like, am I like they're real movies? Like, I'm just naming 3 desert island movies?
3 movies that you would watch for the rest of your life if, like, you could only choose 3.
I was like, okay, I know Castaway.
Yeah,
I was just trying to think of movies that were on a desert island. Oh, movies that I can only okay,
Yeah.
so I can take 3.
You could take 3.
Ooh. This is a hard one. See, I feel like I need like a mix of like a funny one, a serious one. Like
I really appreciate how seriously you're taking the silly questions. That's what I called for. So
I know. I
please
feel like
rack your
we're gonna have to
brain.
edit this down.
No.
Where I'm just thinking for an hour and a half.
Just meditating on these
God.
questions.
You just sprung this on me. I didn't get questions in advance.
No, he didn't.
The movie that has most impacted me recently, I would say, is Peanut Butter Falcon. So I'll add that to the list.
It's fantastic.
It's so good. What's like a? See, I'm so much more of a TV than a movie.
Oh, well, my
person.
next question's about TV, so
Okay.
we'll get there.
Funny. I definitely need a funny one.
Yeah. Are you gonna go for a classic or a newbie?
God, I don't know.
This was so unfair of me.
I know. I wish I could have thought about this because I'm sure there's an answer. Can we come back to this one?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay, pick your favorite funny TV show.
Oh, God, there's so many that make me laugh so hard. I think like one of the shows that ever made me laugh the hardest was like Workaholics.
Excellent. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so funny.
I'll have to check it out.
But there's so many good shows like Veep.
Veep is great.
The Righteous Gemstones. Have you seen The Righteous Gemstones?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's with like Adam Devine and Danny McBride and John Goodman, and they play like John Goodman is the pastor of like a super church, like one of the
I'm sold
televangelists.
already.
Oh, it's
I
so
need to
funny.
watch it. The Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
And Edie Patterson is the funniest person in it.
I'll have to watch it. I'm gonna write that down. Excellent. You gave me more than one, but I'll let
I'm
it
sorry.
pass.
Those are just there's a lot of funny shows. I got a lot of TV shows, but just the movies, I'm like,
Would you rather listen to music too loudly or too softly?
oh, too loudly.
Okay. What is your favorite wood?
Either walnut or mahogany.
Beautiful.
Oh no, maybe rosewood. I don't know. There's a lot of nice ones. It just depends on, because sometimes I'll find certain woods that are like I don't know. It depends. I like walnut and mahogany a lot, though.
I feel like, are you like me where if I have to choose a favorite thing, I feel like I'm hurting the other thing's feelings?
Oh. Hurting inanimate objects.
Are you hurting Rosewood's feelings by saying walnut?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. Actor pet peeve.
Actor pet peeve.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just like not making choices.
Is that a thing though?
What do you mean?
Because if you're going to play anything, when you say not making choices, do you mean not taking a risk or...
I don't know. Maybe that's not even my biggest...
Or playing what's exactly on the page. Is that what you mean?
I guess just playing exactly what's on the page. Like not having any deeper choices to like what's going on and why.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a pet peeve or not because sometimes...
Also, there are some writers I feel that kind of require you to do exactly what's on the page.
No, for sure. I mean, it's just there's just a way that there.
I'm
it's
just
hard
looking
to,
for
it's
answers
very,
for myself.
No,
I'm
no.
being very selfish in this interview. I was I'm taking mental notes.
It's hard to explain. It's just like they're just when I just feel like when people just do exactly what's on the page, it just comes off as very surface and very not layered. And
do you hear that? That was like
and that's and I should not say that that's my pet peeve because sometimes that's just like people don't have a great audition or they're whatever. I guess my pet peeve would just be if we're super back pre-COVID days, and like they clearly have seen that there's 30 people in the waiting room and there should be like 3, and they tell a story that goes on and on,
just very chatty,
and it's like we have to start this scene now, like, and I'm just like starting to sweat because I can just feel like, oh my god, everyone's waiting so long. So that's actually probably my biggest pet peeve.
That makes sense. Okay,
because I feel like my first answer was bad because it's just like, oh well, my pet peeve is like not being as good as other people.
Fair. So that means like everyone that like didn't get a call back.
No. And so a lot of times people will do great jobs and they're just not right for that role.
Right.
Like they'll have a really nice read, but it's just like this doesn't make any sense, or they're feeling too old, or they're feeling too young, or they're feeling whatever. It's just not right for that role. Like just because like you don't hear anything on the role does not mean you did a bad job.
Yeah.
It might mean that, but like it doesn't. Like you could like do everything right and it's just not your role.
I have a very kind of weird question now. That I didn't even think of before. This is not part of the silly questions we're going to take seriously.
Okay.
How do you support the no feedback?
Well, I mean, it's not that I support it. It's that the time doesn't exist.
Right, because you're seeing so many people.
I'd love to give everybody feedback, but also like it's just like there's always something that's very important that I need to do. That is important by the people who are paying me.
Right.
So I can't like stop what I'm doing to give the 40 people who emailed me feedback.
Do people email you for feedback?
Oh,
really?
all the time.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of time, and sometimes they'll get it. Like there's no harm in asking. It's just like I can't always answer. Like if there's going to be like emails that I ignore, like it's feedback and pitch emails. Like I can't get to all. It's insane. I'll get hundreds a day.
You guys are seeing so many actors and sending appointments and sending callbacks and booking people and meeting with producers. Like you have, I'm
just scheduling
amazed
everybody
that
and
you even saw people in person to begin with, because I know that you guys would see, and casting in general would see hundreds of people.
Oh yeah, for each role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I did get feedback for one role once, and I remember like hearing the numbers, and it's like, oh yeah, we got like 5,000 submissions, and then we saw like 400 tapes,
that sounds about
and
right.
then we only like called in like 8
12
people to come in person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's a lot, and that's why like another reason why I'm like I like being on the other side of this. Like it's very competitive, and the thing is like the people who are getting called back out of those, there's 5,000 submissions and then they send out 400 tapes, and the people that are getting called back, they're oh my god, I completely blanked on it just like completely went away.
The numbers.
The numbers, the people who get called back. I don't know.
The time that you have for feedback.
How long do you have for feedback? It's gone.
Totally fine. But no, that makes sense. You wish you had the time, but you don't have the time.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I would love to give people feedback. Oh my God, it came and then it went away.
Very tempestuous, that
I know,
thought.
it's really weird. I don't know.
I can let you sit with it while I go to my next silly question.
See, there's so much editing I wish I could do, but I can't because of you. Not you, the camera.
Like
I was looking right at the camera.
Oh, hey. I already asked you my next one, which was most nostalgic song. So I'm going to move to the next one. Play-Doh or GAC?
Oh, Play-Doh. I don't think I ever played with GAC.
Never.
Is that just the green one?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
the Nickelodeon.
Oh, right.
Play-Doh.
I like the smell of Play-Doh better.
That's a great answer.
But GAC might be more fun. You can like make a pop and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
you can do that with the Play-Doh, I guess, but it's been a while.
I love that so much. What are you working on right now, and where can our listeners follow you? And what do you want them to check out?
I am working on this studio, SOUNDWORC. I am working on the 4400 reboot for CW.
Badass. I'm excited for it.
We also have In the Dark was picked up for season 4.
That's a fun one. I really like In the Dark.
And then Republic of Sarah airs in like a week.
Fuck yeah.
So we're fingers crossed for season 2. Those are the things. And Contact in the Desert.
I wanted to
this
ask
year,
about that.
Unfortunately, it's a virtual conference, which is still cool, but it's not nearly as fun as when we do it live. Like 2 years into 2019, obviously we didn't do it last year, but in 2019 we did it at the Indian Wells Renaissance, like the Marriott Renaissance. Like it's like this big resort. We went out the whole thing. We had like 5,000 people. 37 speakers. It's more of like it's actually more like intellectually based. It's not just like, oh, I saw an alien, but it's like really like there's like scientists and all these like just different like experiencers and all. And it's also about a lot about like consciousness and like ancient archaeology and different stuff like that. But yeah, contactinthedesert.com.
That's amazing. How do you feel about all the information that has been coming out lately about? Didn't the government like release a lot of documents?
They've been doing a lot, like slowly moving towards disclosure. But we'll see. We hear that a lot, but a lot of people have come out talking about stuff. I mean, they basically just said the other day, I forget who it was that said it, but they said that like we know for sure that these crafts are at least 100 to 1,000 years more advanced than we are, but they don't know who they are. So they're getting around to they're starting to say that.
When they're talking about that, are they talking about, have they like have any landed here, or are they just talking about things that they've seen in the sky?
Just seen in the sky.
Okay.
But it's like Air Force pilots and different things, and it's just like, crafts maneuvering in ways that are not physically possible as far
like
as
very
we
quick,
understand.
Like jarring movements.
No, like insanely, like it seems to have figured out gravity in a way that we don't understand.
I'm fascinated by that stuff. Have you ever seen a UFO?
No, not personally, but working in these conferences and stuff, I've seen and talked to hundreds of people who have, and I've seen a lot of videos, and it's always the weird grainy videos, but I'm just very open to, like, we don't know what's going on. We don't know why we're here or what this planet is or where we are in the universe. And
we don't even know like what goes on and like at the bottom of most of the oceans.
Exactly. So we have no idea what's going on. I'm open to whatever.
Hell yeah. I like it. Be open. I was going to say I was listening to a podcast called Unexplainable. Have you?
I've heard of that. I don't think I've ever listened to it though.
They did an episode on ball lightning and
so weird. Have you seen the video of the ball lightning that's like in a plane? Like as they're flying? Yeah,
no.
It's crazy.
I haven't even heard of this phenomenon until it popped up on my podcast feed, and I listened to the episode and it was fascinating. And I was like, oh my God, what I thought was a UFO was totally ball lightning.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a lot of people that will see like things that are definitely explainable, but then there's also stuff that people see that is not explainable.
I was driving in the car and I saw it looked like a basketball that was on fire.
Oh yeah, no, and it moves slow sometimes.
Very slow, just like in an arc. And I'm like, and I was with my dad, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "What the fuck?" It was like totally, we couldn't explain it. And then I heard that, I was like, "Oh!" And I texted him, I was like, "That was probably ball lightning." And he's like, "You're probably right."
Yeah, Yeah, it's so weird.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's really rare. That's cool that you saw that.
Yeah. You never saw.
No, I've never seen ball lightning. I mean, I've seen plenty of videos, but nothing like that.
And it trips me out that like it could be in different colors too, because some people see it in blue. I saw it in orange.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. The videos I've seen are like blue.
Crazy. So maybe it was not that. If it's an orange.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, was probably ball lightning, but
okay,
who
don't
knows?
rain on my parade
No,
over
no,
here.
it could be anything.
Jason,
Yes.
are you okay?
Yeah. For the most part.
But
I know. I mean, all things considered, I have no complaints.
excellent.
But, I could use more free time.
What would you do with said free time?
Nothing.
I love that for you.
Maybe read.
Yes.
But
What are you
throw my
into
phone
reading?
into the ocean.
What are you into reading? Because you laughed at my court of
No, I had just never heard of it. No, I read mostly nonfiction stuff. I read a lot of like stuff about like ancient history and weird things, stuff that like unexplainable stuff like
So you should check out the
produce a
podcast,
UFO
Unexplainable.
conference, so- yeah, exactly. No, I like a lot of history stuff. I like a lot of just mostly nonfiction. Just like fiction stuff is cool, but like our world and where we are is so crazy, and so many crazy things have happened. Like there's so many true stories that are crazier than any movie you've ever seen. So I always kind of like stuff that I know is real.
That's so interesting. That's why I love the podcast Lore, because it's all like very heavily researched.
Yeah.
But it does like tiptoe on that border of fantasy and reality.
Yeah.
Because these are stories that people have documented.
Right, and it'll be like a lot of people, but you just can't prove it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like on the provable side, I guess history. We'll see. People say stuff's provable, but history is written by the winners, so we don't know what happened. But there's a podcast called Hardcore History that I love. That's a great one.
Fabulous. Very good. So you said you were doing the convention, the contact
in the desert.
In the desert. Come to SOUNDWORC, you guys. Why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. We're in Burbank.
Wonderful. And casting all those wonderful shows. And you want more free time.
Yeah, and I guess I would make some stuff in free time, like do furniture and read. That's probably all I do.
Do furniture.
Yeah. Make it.
Yes.
I don't know how to speak.
I love it. Jason, you are so awesome. I'm so happy you joined me today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me.
This was fun.
This was a pleasure.
Yay. We will see you guys next time. This podcast was produced by Jason Crow and me, Pamela Portnoy, with music by Jordan Ross Weinhold. You can follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at No One's Okay, and please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. We love kind reviews. No One's Okay is also on YouTube, so if you want to see our faces, please subscribe to our channel. An extra special thank you goes out to Sean Moore, Claire Palmer, Jackson Palmer, Tiffany Haymoff, and Alexa Marie Anderson. This podcast was recorded at SOUNDWORC Studios. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.